is working for you. He said, I've not left you, I've not abandoned you. I never stop working. He told his disciples, I'm leaving now, but I'm going to prepare a place for you. And where I am, you might be, 'cause I never stop. He said, boys, you're not going to see me for a while. But while you're running and doing your thing, I'm working. I'm not just sitting eating potato chips. Let me tell you what he's doing. Let me tell you. He's opening doors for your favor. He's making a way for you, yeah. You're going to be blessed in the city. You're going to be blessed in the field. You're going to be blessed coming. You're going to be blessed going. He said houses you didn't build, vineyards you didn't plant, 'cause I never stop working. I never stop. Sometimes it feels like you're all alone. Sometimes it feels like you can't phone a friend. He never stops, he never stops, but he never stops. Even in your darkest night he's working. Even when you have tears in your pillow he's working. He never stops, he never stops. Sick room, he never stops. Never stops. He'll be a father to the fatherless. He'll be a mother to the motherless. Bread when you're hungry, water when you're thirsty. He never stops working. Waymaker, miracle worker. People never change. You know how they say once of this, always of that? Well, you know that's not true. But you know, I know a man who doesn't change. If he did it yesterday, he'll do it again. If he did it in the Bible, he can do it again. He's never stopped loving you. He's never stopped providing. Even the air you breathe is a gift. And the food you eat is a gift. 'Cause he never stops. He never stops. He never stops. He never stops. It's your season to be blessed. God gave you a promise. It's your season. You can have what God said you can have. You can do what God said you would do. It's your season. It's your season. It's your season. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or evening. We decided to come on a little early, about 20 minutes early, but whoever's punctual and comes out right on time, I'll still be talking. So, good evening to everybody that's watching on YouTube, everybody that's watching on Facebook, everybody that's listening. You can always go back and listen to these if you find them interesting enough on Apple podcasts and Spotify podcasts. And then pretty soon you'll be able to start hearing some music on Apple Music from the Compassion Praise team. So that's going to be exciting. We had a wonderful time last week at the Fulton County Fairground. The Lord was really with us, and we just really enjoyed ourselves. Thank you to everyone that supported. That was really awesome, and it really meant a lot to us. I want to talk about a subject tonight. Um, I don't have a guest, so but I want to talk about a subject tonight that I think is very important. Oh, and I want to say one more thing though before I get to my subject. We're not going to be doing the podcast every week forever. So this is not like a long-term commitment that you're making. We're going to do seasons. So we're going to do a fall season and a spring season. So I think every season is going to have like 15 episodes. So we just got, I think maybe 10, 12 or to 15 episodes. So probably got about 8 more to go. And then you're free. And then come spring, we'll do another 10 to 15 episodes, and you're free again. So it's not a long term commitment, just some things that we really want to share with you. And it's really time that we want to share with you. But it's not a forever commitment that you have to have. All right. So let's get into our subject tonight. I want to talk about jealousy. I think jealousy is a very important subject because I think in our popular culture, um, people love to throw out the word jealousy or jealous or haters. That's really popular on social media and online. It's very popular to say I have haters. Haters going to hate. They're sipping on hater raid. All of those things. They talk about jealousy and people are jealous. Growing up, um, I experienced a lot of criticism, a lot of negativity. I would say that I was very bullied, um, and I think it's very dangerous. I think to be bullied, and I think the reason it's dangerous to be bullied is because either one, you develop a inferiority complex, a victim complex, or two, I think you can become the bully so that you'll never be bullied again. So I run into people that tell me that they've been bullied, and I'm almost worried about developing a friendship with that person because I know that anybody that's been bullied in their life or massively criticized, if they didn't take that bullying or that hurt or that criticism the right way, they actually become a very difficult person to develop a relationship with because they're going to get you before they get got. And a lot of times have a lot of walls so that they don't get bullied again. What happens to us as children and in our psyche when we're young, it really transcends and it really goes into our entire life. A lot of times, what the way that you see people and their behavior as adults really can be traced back to kindergarten. It really can be traced back to their childhood. And I think a lot of people, they try to live their whole life making sure they never get hurt as they did when they were a child or treated the way that they were when they were a child. And so this is really it's really difficult because as a child, I know for a fact that I was bullied. I was bullied in school. I was bullied in my family. I was bullied in church. I mean, I really did not go anywhere and not get bullied because I was different. And the world does not like different people. The world does not accept different people. On the other hand, I had people close to me. I don't want to call names or anything like that because I don't want to be rude. But I've had people close to me that go with the flow. They never say anything crazy. They never do anything out of the way, and they never get bullied. Everybody loves them. And you just kind of wonder, what will it take for everyone to love me? Many times, for everyone to love you, you have to actually kill your uniqueness. You have to kill what makes you different. You have to kill what um, makes you special, because you end up becoming a chameleon that is just acceptable to any and every environment. And honestly, with the world we live in today, it's so difficult to try to be like everybody and go with every flow because there's such extreme views in the world. And so you almost find yourself going a little bit crazy. Um, but I realized as a child that being different cost something. Being different was not easy. Being different was not free. I like to wear suits. I like to go to church. I didn't like sports. Um, so all of my life, I was criticized um, about that. Then you have to understand that church is usually, in every church, there's usually more women than men. So, and then the men are always like very antisocial, and the women are always the one doing the brunt of the work. So, a lot of times you can hang around so many women that you begin to carry out and have feminine characteristics. And even in Spanish, most of the people that I speak to in Spanish are not men. It's mostly been a lot of women missionaries in Mexico and different things. So then you pick up different feminine tendencies or characteristics. And so right away, you're called funny, or other things that are very much more offensive. I'll never forget, I was about 12 years old, and I was the youth pastor of a church in Cleveland. And I won't mention the name or the person's name because, mm, why won't I do it? Just because I'm nicer than other people. That's why. I don't think I could get sued because it's the truth. I don't think you're allowed to get sued if you speak the truth. Went into a meeting with the pastor, and he had called me in. I had been preaching all my life since I was 5 and preached many places, and actually went to preach a conference for this pastor. When I preached a conference, there was at least 400 young people jam packed. The church's sound system went out, and then the check he wrote me bounced. Um, but when we moved to Cleveland, we lived in Cleveland for about a year because God was moving so great. The newspapers were publishing articles about our ministry. So we moved. I really enjoyed wearing like pink suits with like black pinstripes in them. And I loved loud, flashy suits. And I loved jewelry and just all of that because I didn't grow up in a religious mindset. I grew up in, you know, everything is beautiful, everything belongs to God. I mean, I love flashy because they told me heaven had streets of gold and lakes of crystal and the foundations of gemstones. And I mean, my heart was just pure in that area. The scripture tells us, to he whom is pure, all things are pure. I think the problem with a lot of people is more telling of the corruption of their heart than the corruption that's actually in the heart of others. You see two guys talking and people think badly. That's really what's in their heart. You see, a young guy and a young girl talking and start rumors. That's really what's in your heart. Well, they got to be up to something. No, you know that because that's what you were up to. So as I go to the meeting with the pastor that I've already forgiven for sending me a bounce check, and already forgiven for just really not um, being who he could have been. But I decided to serve as his youth pastor because I was excited about the mentorship that I would receive. So I go to this meeting, and um, I don't know what words you're allowed to use on this type of stuff. You're allowed to use any word, certain words. Okay, can I spell it? Okay. And he sits me down, and my grandmother is in the meeting with me, and he said, "Son," and he looked at me and he said, "I really want to support your ministry more, but you dress like a faggot. And until you stop dressing like that," which is a very derogatory way of saying I dressed like a homosexual. He said, "And until you stop dressing like that, the Lord will never use you, and I can never send you anywhere in ministry." My grandmother looked at him and she said, "You just said what?" And she said, "Chaz, you go outside of this room." She said, "I have to talk to him." I said, "No, no, no." She said, "I said, you go out and I want to talk to him." And so my grandmother always had this thing where she could correct people, authority or adults, or defend me, but she wasn't going to be disrespectful in front of me. Even when she would discipline me, or her children or grandchildren, uh, she had this thing where she said, "Let's go to the bathroom." She always did discipline in the bathroom, always did it in private. When we get home, you're going to get it. It was never a public display of insanity. And I'm giving that as a nugget for some of you young parents out there. You don't have to show the whole world that you got issues in your house. Some things are for the four walls. So he tells me this. My grandmother adequately defends me. I mean, the pastor's wife was in the meeting, and she had tears. By the time they got out, and we never went back to that church, because I don't think you should tell a 12-year-old that, use a derogatory word on top of that to explain that you believe he dresses like a homosexual. First of all, what does a homosexual dress like? And you're already labeling and branding something that is just really, really um, difficult. But this is the type of treatment that I'd go to family occasions, and I'd have a suit and tie. And my family would just get so angry. "Why are you wearing a suit to a soccer game? Why are you wearing a suit to Christmas? What's wrong with you? Chaz is funny. Chaz is odd." I'm the oldest, and so out of all the grandchildren, so if I wanted to go Easter egg hunting, he's too old. He gets all the good stuff. If it's a Christmas exchange, we can't add him. Um, Always a reason why I had to be excluded, or, just picked on constantly. At every family event, "Well, Chaz, he's weird. He's different. How he is." Um, just always felt like that. If I go deeper into telling you the intensity of the bullying and the hurt, I could probably hurt some people's feelings that might be listening, because I don't think they realize the hurt or the damage that they did to a young person that just loved God and wanted to serve God. I didn't even necessarily want to serve people, but I did want to serve God. I didn't know that serving God meant serving people. I know that now. And because I know that, I love serving people because I serve God through people. So it's great. Um, I would do play practice, and I loved the theater. Oh, I loved acting and the theater and musicals. But I would oftentimes come home crying. I was pulled out of school. People know that I was homeschooled, but they don't know I was homeschooled because I was bullied at school so bad. until if I would take a cowboy hat to school, the boys would take it out of my locker, go and pee on it, leave it in the toilet. They were so close-minded. One time, my mom had bought me a pair of Abercrombie jeans, and I'm like 10, 11. Abercrombie jeans, and the girls would come up to me and say, "Oh, you got the same jeans as I do. Those are girl jeans. Girl jeans have that and this and the other." So it's very difficult to try to explain, no, you're small-minded defiance people, and y'all mamas buy your stuff at Walmart. My mom bought this for me at Abercrombie and Fitch, so I'm sorry, but I didn't have the mentality to be able to fight them back like that. I internalized it. And, I just told him, I said, "No, it's not." And then the teachers could not understand why this would offend me or bother me. And I honestly think that's why I struggled academically in school, dealing with, I mean, even if I even go back further, 8 and 9 years old, all the kids on the playground had boyfriends and girlfriends, fake ones, of course. But one day everybody was picking who they were going to marry. And we were going to do this like fake little wedding thing. And and I looked and I said, "Well, who am I going to marry?" And they said, "You're going to be the preacher for the weddings." So I didn't get to marry anybody. I had to be the preacher, which was okay. But in the Pentecostal church, the preacher gets married too. But I guess they were all Catholics, so I didn't get to get married. Um, so that was difficult. It was difficult that in school I was bullied, in church I was bullied. Oftentimes when I'd be on the praise team, there'd be difficulties there. Um, I've had people that have bullied me on the praise team actually come to our church and with me as the pastor and tell our sound guy or something, mess with his mic or mess with the volume or mess with this and that. And they're like, ain't no way. I mean, all of that really never stops. But one thing that I never thought, it never came to my mind that people did the things that they did to me because they were jealous. That never came to my mind because I've never understood and I've never thought that anything that I was doing or experiencing was worthy of being jealous of. I've never understood that because I've always seen my struggle. I've always seen the truth, the pain, the suffering. Um, I mean, I can remember when we first started Vida about 8 years ago. We started with no financial backing, with no denominational support, and I remember when they'd shut off the lights, or shut off the gas, or shut off whatever utility, and we'd have to go to a friend of mine, Pastor Dan's church, and pretend we were just in revival, and that's why we all went over for fellowship. But really, the lights were cut out. And then to not be able to show, the reaction of the stress or the upset, to try to, and then to think somebody's jealous, and you just thinking, jealous of what? Um, but when you're secure, when you're confident, I have found that people actually are jealous of those qualities because jealousy is not a jealousy is not a demon that just attaches itself to certain people. Jealousy is innate. Jealousy, everybody has the ability to be jealous. And I think one thing that we need to not do is just assume and say everybody is a hater, everybody is jealous, as if you're not a hater and as if you're never jealous. Because everybody has a seed or a root or a piece Everybody has some type of jealousy about something in them. Um, and it's almost like everybody has the ability to overeat, or everybody has the ability to be lazy. It's literally a discipline that you have to practice to not be jealous. Jealousy is not something that only a certain group of people experience. Jealousy came as a result of the fall of Adam and Eve. Jealousy literally is the spirit of murder. We see jealousy take place right after Adam and Eve fall. And after they're kicked out of the garden, they have a son named Cain that becomes very jealous of his brother Abel. Abel did not deserve to die. Abel was minding his own business. Truly great people don't realize that they're great. Truly great people, if you're truly great, you don't think you're great. If you're truly great, you don't have to take a picture of your fancy meal you just ate, because you don't even realize what great of a meal it is, because that's just how you eat. You don't see the princes and the kings and the queens posting every crown and every every event and every, I mean, my God, if we were the king and queen, we would probably post the socks. Could you believe, look at these socks with a little crown in them? I mean, they don't do that, because when you're truly great, it's kind of hidden from you. Every great person and any great person is actually a little bit oblivious to their greatness. And I think God does that. And I know He does it to keep great people humble. So great people actually uh, don't have quite as high self esteem as everybody thinks that they do. Everybody has a struggle. Everybody has a story. I'm just telling you a piece of mine, but you have a story. You have a struggle. You have what you went through. And what I went through isn't the end all. And I think we think that, well, I've been going through this and I've gone through that. But everybody's gone through something. There's nobody that hasn't gone through. Um, Sometimes you see people that, they've been hurt by jealousy. So they say, well, I didn't get what I have being lazy. I've been working hard. But there's people that built railroads and they worked hard and they didn't get, the payment or the receipt for everything that they did. So hard work isn't always the reason for success. Some things are just blessings from the Lord. And, we sometimes just get things we don't deserve. And that's okay. It's okay to go on a vacation you didn't deserve. It's okay to buy a house you don't deserve. It's okay to have a spouse you don't deserve. It's okay that your children be so great and you didn't earn it and you didn't deserve it. That's okay. That's grace. Grace is the ability to receive something that He paid for that we could not afford. So, Adam and Eve fall, and the first thing that happens is this seed of jealousy enters into their children's heart. And Cain is jealous, and Abel does not even know why. He doesn't even understand. He doesn't even know he's going to get killed, simply because God has favored him, because he's offered unto the Lord a more pleasant, a more good, a more acceptable sacrifice. So Cain is jealous, and Cain gets so angry because he lets jealousy overtake him and override him. See, the thing about jealousy is, if you don't check jealousy, if you don't keep that spirit of murder, that jealous spirit in check, jealousy will have you hating people you don't know. It will have you envying people, wanting to be like people that you don't understand or know their struggle or their story or their cross. And so the problem with jealousy is it only tells you a piece of the story. Jealousy doesn't tell you the tears. Jealousy doesn't tell you the pain. Jealousy doesn't describe to you or tell you what it cost to be great. Jealousy makes you think that people just
We're born that way. Jealousy will make you think that it's easy to be great, or that it's easy to have something, or that it's easy to obtain. But the problem is, jealousy comes from the pit of hell, and the devil is a liar, and he's the father of lies. The problem is that anything that comes from hell is deceitful, and there's so much deception to it that we don't realize that God is able to do for you what he's done for another. But why would he do for you what he's done for another when you're unique, you're special, you're wonderful, you're fearfully and wonderfully made? You've been created with a different fingerprint. You've been created with different DNA. You might have 3 or 4 siblings, all the same mom and dad, but God made you so unique because there's something specific that he wants you to do. The problem with jealousy is that we don't appreciate who God created us to be because we're so busy looking at what God created someone else to be. And so jealousy doesn't tell you you don't have to envy that person. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be feel any type of way towards that person. God created you to be wonderful in your own way. So I found myself as a young person wishing that I was like the other boys that were athletically inclined. I even though I loved God, I would sometimes be sad that God created me to be different. I loved my difference, but nobody else loved it. I loved my uniqueness, but nobody else appreciated it. And it's almost like, what good is a gift if you can't share it with somebody? What good is what you have if there's no validation? But this is what makes a truly great individual. I didn't say a truly rich person. I didn't say a truly famous person. I said a truly great person. There are famous people that aren't great. There are talented people that aren't great. There are wealthy people that aren't great. Greatness is not something you can buy or obtain. You just either are or you aren't. But what really makes truly great people, what can bring greatness out of you, is when you learn that your greatness is just not for everybody. And that's okay. And you have to learn that everybody's not going to want what you have to offer. But one day, I came to Toledo, and there was a group of people that embraced who God created me to be. They weren't the richest, they weren't the smartest. And not saying they weren't smart, but I mean, none of them were rocket scientists. They weren't the richest. None of them were on Forbes. They weren't the most connected. None of them knew the president, but they loved me. And ever since I've been here in Toledo, and I've had ups and I've had downs, hills and valleys, but the Lord has sent me a people that love me. And I understand that everybody that starts with you doesn't stay with you. I understand that some people are with you for a season. I get all of that. But all I needed to know is that I wasn't crazy. All I needed to know is that I didn't cook up this thing that God called me in my garage. I just needed to know that there was a people. And so, yeah, there's some imperfect people that come to church but I'm imperfect. And so it was this mesh, it was this marriage of let's just be what God has called us to be. And that is true greatness. That it doesn't matter if people think we're odd or weird or whatever. We are walking in our calling, not envying and being jealous of anyone else. Jealousy is so deceptive because it causes you to want to kill or slander or hurt or murder people that are doing the best that they can, people that are sacrificing and making sacrifices. And you don't have to see the sacrifice. You don't have to know. It's wonderful that people tell their story, but you don't have to know somebody's story. If they're great, they paid a price for that. If they're doing something that's worth anything, it costs them. I think a lot of times people, they want a title because they think a title makes them great, or they want an opportunity because they think the opportunity will make them great. But true greatness is persevering when nobody else sees it, when nobody else can hear it, when nobody else understands it. True greatness is refusing to be jealous of anyone else that seems to be excelling far ahead of you. Did you know that there's always going to be somebody richer, better looking, faster, seemingly happier, seemingly more successful? You'll never be the richest. You'll never be the smartest. You'll never be the best looking. But you can be enough. You can be enough for the people in your circle. You can be enough for the people that God has called you to. You can be enough for your destiny. You can be enough for your purpose. And if that becomes enough to you, then you can experience true greatness, because it's not in chasing another dollar. Greatness is not in chasing another dollar. Greatness is not in chasing a better looking spouse. Greatness is not in chasing a better car or a better house. Greatness is saying, Lord, I thank you because you've supplied all of my needs. I have enough. And honestly, the world around us, they never have enough. They never have enough money. They never have enough chaka chaka. I'm going to say it like that because we might have kids listening. They never have enough clothes. They never have enough food. They never have enough anything. This world is never satisfied, and it's never going to be satisfied. But we, as the people of God, we can have enough and we can be enough. Jealousy is so funny because jealousy causes us to want people to have more, but we just don't have more than me. When people start having more than you, sometimes you can get a little inferior. Sometimes we get jealous of our brothers or our sisters, our family members, cousins that we see. Oh, they're getting married. And you've always wanted to get married. They're already on their third wedding. And you've not gotten married once. And sometimes that really hurts because you just feel like, when is it going to be my turn? You can get jealous of somebody that's married to a doctor, and maybe your spouse is just working a minimum wage job. You can get jealous of somebody who all their children have excelled in ministry, or all of their children have excelled financially. And you feel like for some reason your children just don't seem to be excelling. Jealousy is so subtle that it begins as comparison. But the problem is, you are unique, and God has not called you to be like anybody else. So what if their kids seem to be doing better? So what if somebody got married before you? So what if somebody makes more money than you? That doesn't diminish your worth. That doesn't diminish who you are. And that doesn't diminish God's calling. In Spanish, we've got a saying that says life is like the roulette table. And that roulette table, that ball goes all the way around and just spins and spins. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're in the middle. And you just never know when it's going to be your turn. And you never know when it's going to be your time. But here's the problem. If jealousy has kept you from cheering others on, when it's your turn, there will be no cheers. because that which you sow is what you're going to reap. Many people aren't reaping the things that they feel like they should be reaping because they've not really sown it. The Bible said if you sow love, if you sow friendship, you'll have love and friends. But he said if you sow into the wind, you'll reap a whirlwind. I know we think that we really help people. I know we think we really cheer people on. I know in our hearts, we really think we help people. But do we really? Do we really go above and beyond? Or do we do our bare minimum and then expect to receive this awesome, great recompense? I mean, I see people say, well, I've helped this one and I've helped that one. But I look at them and I look at who they've helped. And most of the time, we help people that can help us in return. Most of the time, we bless people that can bless us in return. Most of the time, we do things, and it's not that we're bad people. We're just humans. We're calculative. We calculate 2 plus 2 is 4. But the problem is that God isn't looking for us to do the calculations. He's just looking for us to follow principle. And biblical principle doesn't have to make sense. Biblical principle doesn't have to be something that you understand. Biblical principle is not something that you can calculate with your calculator. Biblical principle says cheer for everyone. Cheer for people that you don't even like. You won't find me not cheering for people. Even people that I don't like, I cheer for them. I don't laugh when somebody fails or falls or makes a mistake or loses their church or lights get shut off because I've been there. And I don't want to join the bully group that talks bad about people and tells people how they dress this and how they dress that because it hurts. I just don't make fun of people the way that others do and or chastise people the way that others do because I've been there. It's harder to join that judgmental Pharisee stoning competition when you've been the woman that Jesus saved, when you've been the man that Jesus rescued, when you've been in the shoes of the person that everybody was talking about. I have people come to me all the time. So and so's talking about you, so and so. And I was never the type of person to say, oh, they're just jealous. But I've had to grow and mature to realize, honey, some people are just jealous. But they're not jealous of you. They're jealous that God loves you. They're jealous of your relationship with God. See, Cain wasn't really jealous of Abel. He was jealous of what God was doing for Abel. He was jealous of what God had provided for Abel. He was jealous of the favor of God in Abel's life. People aren't really jealous of you. So I don't really have to wear it. It's not a personal attack. It's really, they're upset that you have fallen and you've made mistakes, but God still uses you. They're upset that maybe you don't pay all your bills on time, but God blesses you anyway. They're upset because they got the right this and the right that, and they've got all the connections, and you don't have any. But God still gives you third and fourth generation old money blessings, checks in the mail and inheritances, things you don't deserve. And they're upset because they've worked and they've worked and they've worked and they don't have what you have. And so Cain was mad because of what God had bestowed upon Abel. We don't need to be the type of person, oh, they just don't like me. You know what? It has really nothing to do with me. The confidence that they see, God gave it to me. The style that they see, God gave it to me. The money that's in my pocket, God gave it to me. The clothes that I wear, God gave it to me. And really, what that should produce is not bitterness in our heart. That should produce rejoicing. Thank you, Lord, that people I don't know hate me because you've blessed me so. Because sometimes I don't even see how much you've blessed me, but others can see it. Isn't that exciting that God has blessed us so much in so many areas and so many facets? And He's just blessed us until people want to hurt us and kill us and tarnish our name. And we didn't even realize we were a threat. We didn't even realize that we were the topic of conversation. We didn't even know. We were oblivious to it because truly great people are oblivious to their greatness. So you don't have to be hurt. You don't have to walk around resentful. And recently, the person that told me I dressed like that and hurt me at that young age, I ran into them again. And I was able to give them a hug and say, God bless you. And the Lord put me on the forefront to preach in their presence. Only God can do something like that. And they're the one that had the connections, the power, the ability, but they were the ones sitting on the sidelines. And the Lord pushed me to the front. Maybe they knew that God was going to do that all the way back then, and I just couldn't see it. But isn't it wonderful that God knows our future? And isn't it wonderful that He knows why people are angry, why they're upset? He knows why they're jealous. He knows why they hate. It does us no good to become bitter about it or sad about it or angry. Really, we need to raise our hands toward heaven and say, thank you, Lord, that you've blessed me so much, that I have enemies that I don't deserve, enemies that I've never hurt, enemies that I've really never done anything to, enemies that I've never talked bad about, and they're talking bad about me. Isn't it wonderful to have haters? Honestly, I just don't think that if you don't have anybody hating or jealous, I just don't think God's been that good to you. I think that haters are a sign of God's goodness. It's almost like if I see a hater, there must be a blessing somewhere. If I see someone that's jealous, there must be something valuable. Because why would you hate on something that's not valuable? I was at a party recently, and the person had purchased an expensive vehicle. I don't want to say the name because then you might know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And this is not a gossip session, but it's so interesting how people are. Person had purchased an expensive vehicle, and they had mentioned, they said, yeah, we were able to buy this vehicle and through hard work. I mean, it wasn't like they went to the dealership and the person said, here, you can have it. It's hard work. And instead of the people listening saying, oh, wonderful, congratulations, let me see it, it's nice, praise God, they said, oh, everybody's got one of those nowadays. And I looked and I thought, I don't have one. Everybody. They're leaving me off the boat. What do they mean everybody's got one? I missed my voucher. When did everybody get one? They didn't call me. Oh, I just laughed so hard because what I realized was that person was so jealous that they could not simply say, congratulations. Is it that hard to just say congratulations? Is it that difficult just to say, hey, great work? I just don't understand. I don't get it. I'm lost at it. And so I literally turned to the person and I looked around at the table and I said, I ain't got one because I don't. I said, I'm just a little preacher doing my best to make my note every month. And meanwhile, everybody else got an expensive whatever car. But that's not true. Everybody doesn't have one. They just could not celebrate. Jealousy is wicked. Jealousy is as cruel as the grave, the Bible said. It's not of God. It's very demonic. It's very hurtful. And many of us act out on jealousy and we don't even know it. Why does the pastor's wife got a new dress? That's jealousy. Why did you have to buy a new car? That's jealousy. They don't need this. They don't need that's jealousy. Don't let the enemy use you like he used Cain. Celebrate. Even if you don't understand it, even if you don't get it, celebrate. Push people. Push others to be better. I want people to be better than me. I want the next pastor of compassion to be 10 times, 100 times better than I could ever be. I don't want him to suffer, to struggle, to be in need, or to be in lack. I even told our board the other day, I think Compassion needs to buy a house. Once we get done with our building projects and everything else we're doing, we want to buy a couple of houses because we want to make sure that we want to do a men's home, recovery home, and a women's recovery home. That's in our vision. But after we do all of that, I want to buy a home for the next pastor. So the next pastor of this church has a great home. They call that a parsonage. Now, a lot of people don't believe in parsonage. That's fine. But I just want to make sure we bless the next person so that if they don't need it, they can rent it out. But what if they do need it? What if that's a blessing to them? Let's just push people. Why we always got to have something negative to say or hurtful or they don't deserve this or they don't deserve that? If you deserve everything that comes to you, it's not coming from God. It's not from grace. Grace is unmerited favor, blessings, forgiveness, hope, joy, everything that we don't deserve. That works as long as it's us. But we just don't like it when it's somebody we don't like or we don't think deserves it. But nobody deserves the grace of God. Nobody deserves the goodness of God. You don't. You don't. I don't care how pretty you are, how smart you are, how rich you are, how nice you are. Nobody deserves the goodness and the grace of God. But He gave it to us, and can't nobody take it from us. So as I come to my close tonight, I think I did enough running my mouth. As I come to my close tonight, don't be a hater. Don't be jealous. It's a spirit of murder. Don't even play with jealousy. Don't be jealous with your spouse. Don't be jealous with your loved ones. Don't be jealous at Christmas time or anniversaries. Get off the jealous train on Facebook. Well, his wife bought him. Him a Bass Pro Shop gift card. Her husband bought her a designer purse. Don't be jealous. God knows what you need, and He provides all your needs, not your spouse. God provides all your needs. He provides them, not the government, not a job, not a credit score. He provides all of our needs according to His riches and glory. There's no need to be jealous. Don't be a hater. Don't be jealous. It's not worth it. It's demonic territory. It's satanic ground. It's hellish. It's wicked. It's low down. It's dirty. It's nasty. It's muddy. It's slimy. It's swampy. It's no good. We're better than that. We're the children of God. And we don't want what anybody else has. I don't want what any of you have. I don't want your house. I don't want your spouse. I sure don't want your kids. I don't want anything you have. There's nothing you have that I want because everything I need, He supplies. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I don't want what any. He is my shepherd. If I pray enough, He'll give me what I want. He'll give me what I need. He's able to give me what I like. Amen. So I thank you for watching and listening. Y'all are really kind to me. I'm so glad I found my tribe. I'm so glad I found a people that love me for me and don't talk about me and hurt me. And you guys have just been my family. I could not have asked God for a better family than my compassion family. I could not have asked God for a better group of people to surround me. And I know a lot of you have those same testimonies. You love your compassion family. You love walking up to the church and getting those hugs and those kisses because we're not doing it for nothing. We're not doing it so you can give more, do more. No, I mean, we give more because God's been good. We do more because God's been good, but that's not why we love each other. It really has nothing to do with a hidden motive. I love you guys. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I hope some of this has helped you. Haters going to hate, but when haters hate, we're going to celebrate. Why? Because it's an indication that God has been good. We're not going to get sad and depressed and angry. Oh, they hate me. Oh, they're jealous of me. No, that doesn't make me sad. It makes me glad because God's doing his job. He said he'll prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. He's preparing blessings in the presence of your enemies. He's going to bless you big. He's going to do for you such great and marvelous things. I mean, he's really getting ready to blow your mind. I hope you know that. I hope you know he's not forgotten about you. I hope you know he's not a liar. I hope you know he's not forgetful. He doesn't have amnesia. He doesn't forget. He's getting ready to blow your mind. He's getting ready to knock your socks off. The blessing of the Lord that's getting ready to come to your life in such an uncommon time, in such a time of famine, but the blessings, the miracles, the healing, the breakthroughs that are getting ready to come into your life, I'm sorry, they're going to produce jealousy. They're going to produce haters. They're going to produce angry people because they don't think you should have a house like that. They don't think you should drive that. They don't think you should wear that. They don't think you should be happy. They don't think you should go on vacation. They don't think you should. They don't. If you don't like, if you can't cope with jealousy and if you can't cope with haters, you don't need to be blessed by the Lord because it killed Abel. So, what I would do if you're just going to keep living for God and keep serving God, what I would do is I would develop some good hater coping skills, some good jealousy coping skills. Get to know your tribe, love your tribe, be loyal and faithful, and say, hey, I got my little cheerleading group. I don't need nobody else. If y'all don't understand it, peace. I'm out. All right. So thank you to everybody who's watching. I've not had a chance to look at the comments, and I don't want to do it because I just I said what I wanted to say. So thank you for watching. I don't have anything I want to add. I don't want to take any questions. I love you. And if I start calling out names and people that listen later, they're gonna be like, "Well, you didn't mention my name." I just don't want to do, and I don't want to produce any extra jealousy for y'all. Why he mentioned their name and not mine? Uh, I don't play favoritism, but I do mention people I spend time with. So if you want to be mentioned, you got to come spend some time with yo boy. All right? God bless you. I love you. The Lord love you, and we'll see you.